Into the mid-40s. We'll see low 50s and heavy rain for Friday. From the KIRO 7 Pinpoint Weather Center, meteorologist Claire Anderson.
It is 47 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Ursula Royteen.
Download our app to listen on your smartphone. KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk. Powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Big Lead is brought to you by 3010 Weight Loss for Life.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
Coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. Welcome. Welcome to The Big Show. Got a little extra pep in my step today.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I never know if I should announce these things ahead of time or if it should just be a surprise when people turn on the radio tomorrow.
Oh, just yeah. Give us a little preview.
Okay. Well, this is my last show of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have a pep in your step.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, again, just, take a couple weeks off to recharge, re-energize,
That's right.
refocus.
We will have Pete tomorrow.
I'm going to come in to do my Friday interview with Pete tomorrow from 12:30 to 1. I'll still be doing Seahawks on Sundays, so I'm not going anywhere. I just, but remember what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these next 2 weeks and completely retool the show and unveil on January 2nd of 2020, Dori 2020. So that's my mission the next couple of weeks.
Don't get everyone excited because now they're going to say, ooh, does that mean run for governor?
I'm not running for anything because, well, I don't know. I may run for governor. I may run for governor. But I could now because one of the things that was holding me back was I also got my knee replacement scheduled today. So
That's exciting.
Oh, it's so exciting.
This is a good day.
Oh, it's fantastic. Sound like I'm doing a show for 80-year-olds right now. Okay, so this thing in Pierce County, do they say what breed of dogs they were?
Mostly pit bulls or pit bull types.
That's what I assume. Okay, and you said they're going to be taken to the Humane Society.
Some were taken to a local vet. They're just so malnourished. Many of them have scars, look like they've been beaten, not eating.
Yeah, well, what you do to these dogs, remember the Michael Vick thing? They were electrocuting dogs or picking them up over their heads and slamming them on the ground if they weren't fighting hard enough. And it is horrific and the idea that is entertainment to a slice of our society, to watch dogs tear each other apart.
Yeah, it's for money.
Yeah,
Gambling.
yes, it is. And it's just, I don't know, it's really horrific. But you go to the Humane Society because my wife and I have always gotten shelter dogs, and it is the saddest thing because in most of the shelters we have visited, there are the cages with all the dogs that want to be adopted, and then there's a chain across the aisle, and then there are all the cages into the area you can't walk by, and those are all the pit bulls that are just sitting there waiting to be put down. And it's really sad because the couple of friends and neighbors that I've known who have had pit bulls, sweetest dogs ever. But then you just get these animals as owners for them. I was, one of my daughters is a real animal lover, more than any of the rest. I mean, we all love animals passionately. But when she she did a 10-week mission trip to the Dominican Republic, and as part of the full immersion into the culture, one night she went and saw a cockfight.
Wow.
And it was the same thing. She said it was a scene crafted out of The Sopranos where there'd be these, fat guys in suits in the front row, literally holding wads of cash in each hand, and people would come up and make the wagers through them, and then they release these roosters, and they, with the sharp talons or whatever they put on attached to their feet, and I just
cruel.
That would not be my sense of entertainment. So then I'm going off on a real tangent here. When we were in Barcelona, I think, when we did a family vacation, we had a conversation about it as a family. Would we go to a bullfight? And we all said, I couldn't do it. none of us had any desire. We were thinking, again, culturally, that, and there was one, and I don't even know if it's still in use, but there was one big, beautiful brick, not a huge stadium, not like 50,000, but I don't know what the capacity was, but it was right there in the middle of Barcelona. And I was thinking, I like the full immersion when you go places, but I couldn't watch that.
Because they're too cruel to the bull.
Yeah, the bull never wins. But they always say, but they, then cut it up and it's meat for villagers and all of that. But I couldn't watch animals being torn up. So anyway, it's very sad, the story out of Pierce County there. With that as mere prelude, let's get to the big lead.
The big lead. I sense a Dori rant coming on.
You may recall that a couple of weeks ago there was an independent review of that train that flew off the track in DuPont down in near Olympia. 3 people were killed, others injured. And what we found out was that along with the most tragic toll, the 3 deaths, there were people who were horribly maimed who survived. It's already cost the taxpayers $20 million in payouts to some of the victims' families and some of the survivors. It has been a very expensive mistake. And what this independent review proved was that the agency most to blame for this tragedy was Sound Transit. Now, Sound Transit is a criminal enterprise. It is not about transportation. It is, if Sound Transit were operating outside of the umbrella of government, RICO statutes would have shut it down because they operate like a bunch of mobsters. Whether it's illegally valuing your car. It's like when the mob goes into the little bakery and says, nice business you got here. Be a shame if it burned down. If you give me $200 a week, I can offer you fire protection. And if you don't, they burn it down. That's the way Sound Transit operates. They go to these families. They say, that's a nice car you got there. What's that worth? $5,000. Nah, it's worth $10,000. If you don't want to go to jail, we're going to value it at $10,000 and tax you accordingly. They're the mob. Sound Transit is the mafia. Okay, so when that Amtrak Cascades train, for which Sound Transit was the main overseeing agency, when it went flying off that track, killing 3 people, when the report came out a couple of weeks ago, they said, well, the chief safety officer for Sound Transit, a guy named Salah Al-Tamimi, they said that, of course, if you're the chief safety officer and people die under your watch, you probably lose your job, right? Wrong. Salah Al-Tamimi, they said that he's going to be demoted. He'll still have a place in Sound Transit. I just did a news search to see if he had resigned. That woman who hired the trans stripper for the homeless agency, she resigned. But the guy who killed people, he doesn't have to resign because he's at Sound Transit. Okay, why am I bringing this up again? A couple weeks after I first did? Well, because who oversees all of Sound Transit? Of course, it's a guy named Peter Rogoff. So Peter Rogoff, he makes really good dough. He makes about $360,000 a year. It's good money. Well, it gets even better. Peter Rogoff was just given by the Sound Transit Board in his annual review a rating of excellent. And what comes with that? A $6,000 bonus and a 4% raise. So now Peter Rogoff's going to be making $385,000 a year. And again, what did he do to get an excellent rating? Well, he oversees the agency that had such safety failures, 3 human beings died. They died under Peter Rogoff's watch. He's overseeing an agency that is tens of billions of dollars over budget. That is now 13 years behind schedule on its phase 1. That already has massive overruns to the east side and on its Linwood extension. An agency that is directing government to sue the voters because the voters said they wanted $30 car tabs. Well, I can certainly understand why a man like this would get an excellent rating. He overturns the will of the voters. He illegally taxes the citizens. People die under his watch, and his projects are tens of billions and tens of years over budget and over schedule. And his rating? Yeah, it's excellent. $6,000 bonus and a 4% annual raise. And according to the Sound Transit Board, they said it's because he built regional relationships, timely communication with the board, and a collaborative tone at the top for staff. Yeah, but you got all those things on one side of the scale. And you got dead bodies on the other side of the scale. See, to me, that's not excellent. I think the dead bodies actually outweigh it. I'd go below average, maybe even poor, when your agency kills people. When your agency is tens of billions over budget. When your agency is 13 years behind schedule. Yeah, I'd go below average or poor in the evaluation there. But nope. $6,000 bonus, 4% raise, $385,000 a year, and is suing the taxpayers. That's why they need to blow out $30 tabs. That's why they need to keep the cash rolling in so that they can reward the people at the top, the big dogs in government. Big dogs got to get theirs. And if that means the family, the working class person, guy who's making $45,000 a year, working hard, and he gets this outrageous $450 car tab bill, well, Peter Rogoff needs that money. You don't. Why would the $45,000 a year guy need that? Big dog needs it. Hopefully it comes with a promise that he won't kill any more people, or his agency won't, in 2020. That's what I'm hoping for. What'll happen? Seriously, if he got an excellent rating 2 weeks after the report came out that Sound Transit was the main agency responsible for 3 deaths, and that gets you an excellent rating, what happens if nobody dies in 2020? Does he get like a super fantabulous rating? What's better than excellent for Peter Rogoff? Can you get a 100% raise? Get him up to, $750,000? Can we give him a $1 billion bonus? Yeah, we can just take that out of Pierce County Sound Transit revenues because they're not building anything for those poor taxpayers anyway. Let's give them $1 billion bonus if they don't kill anybody next year. How about that? That's my new rating scale for Peter Rogoff. By the way, speaking of transit agencies, so then Community Transit, their CEO, guy named Emmett Heath, he makes about $300,000 a year himself. And we got a tip, and so we wrote to Community Transit and said, hey, is this true? On top of his $300,000 a year salary, he gets an $800 a month car allowance. The guy who's in charge of a bus agency, guy who tells all of us we should give up our cars. If you make $300,000 a year running a local transit agency, is it unreasonable for me as a taxpayer to think you should just buy your own car? But here's their explanation when we emailed them. Their spokesman, Nicole, contacted them and said, Nicole, I can confirm that CEO Emmett Heath receives a net monthly car allowance of $600, $793 gross before taxes. We weren't asking about net. We were told it was $800 a month. It's $800 a month. But if you want to give it to us on the net basis, we can do the math ourselves. Then they said, this has been a long-standing practice dating back to the previous CEO. As part of his role, he attends many off-site community, business, and transit executive meetings throughout Snohomish County and Seattle. The allowance is provided for him to drive his own car, as we have a limited number of company service vehicles for other staff to use. Unlike Seattle, we work in an industrial area of South Everett where there's only one bus route providing service in the morning and afternoon, limiting access to transit in the middle of the day. So the guy who runs the transit agency, which is mob-like, whether it's Sound Transit or Metro or Community Transit or the stupid tunnel project even, that's hundreds of millions over budget and counting. But the transit people, oh, get on a streetcar, ride your bike, take the bus, get rid of your cars. So if the head of your agency does, no, he gets $800 a month car allowance. Can't pay for it himself out of the $300,000 a year he makes. And then people wonder why I am continually blowing the whistle and shining a light on the scam that is transit around here. It is not about transportation. It's about two things: enriching people at the top, a jobs program, rewarding the unions that back the candidates that make sure these things happen. That's what it's about. Meanwhile, we continue to have some of the worst gridlock in the United States in our region, despite the tens of billions that we're spending on all this transit. And that is your big lead.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
Well, you know how disinterested I've been with this whole impeachment thing, but, man, when you hear some of the stuff that was happening after I got off the air yesterday and going into the votes, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So we'll have a complete recap coming up next on the Dori Monson Show.